Hello, you're on Wisdom of the Chosen One channel. Chosen One, comfort was never meant for you. In a world that tells us to settle, to seek safety, to let the quiet of routine be a shelter, there is a quieter voice that whispers more loudly to some of us. That voice tells us that we were not born to be content with the comfortable. It tells us that our lives have been written with a different kind of script, one that demands stepping beyond the familiar, beyond the soft glow of ease. If you have ever felt a pulse beneath the surface, an itch that refuses to be silenced by the reassuring lull of normalcy, then you are the one this message reaches for. This message is not for everyone, but only for the chosen ones. If you are one of them, then this is for you. If not, then you won't understand what we're going to talk about next. This is not a lesson for those who find contentment in the steady hum of everyday existence. It is a call for the restless, the ones who see the world's bright edges and feel the weight of something deeper, a purpose that refuses to be dulled by complacency. The comfort of the ordinary can become a cage, and only by confronting that cage can we truly understand the fire that lies within. What you will come away with is more than a new perspective. It is a clear map of how to recognize the subtle ways comfort tries to anchor you, and how to use that awareness to chart a path toward an authentic, daring life. Through the lens of this truth, you will learn to move from feeling trapped by the comfort you cannot escape, to embracing the fierce possibility that has always waited on the other side of it. Chosen One, before watching, write the number 777 in the comments. This will let other chosen ones know that you exist and that you are not alone. There is a silence that no one else can hear, a hush that settles over the world when the Lord's whisper arrives. It is not a lullaby of rest, but a deliberate pause, a stillness that demands your attention. You feel it in the hush of a winter morning, when the wind has gone still and the earth holds its breath. In that quiet, the noise of comfort, the lull of routine, the safety of familiarity is stripped away, and the place of the heart is exposed to a higher voice. You may think comfort is a gift of the world, a cushion that lets you drift. But the hush is the threshold of the divine invitation. It is where the ordinary dissolves and the extraordinary is revealed. It is the moment when the soul, once saturated with the clamor of daily life, must learn to listen to the faint, relentless pulse of purpose. The echo is not a command, but a question: who are you, and what are you willing to give up to be the vessel of my will? In that silence, you discover that your own desires are not the masters, but the servants. The world tempts you with more noise, more comfort, more easy, yet the hush demands endurance, a discipline that is not a luxury, but a responsibility. When you sit in that quiet, you learn to guard your attention, to trim the noise that steals your focus, and to recognize the subtle opposition, jealousy of your calling, the distraction of fleeting pleasures. The hush is a prelude, a test of resolve. It is the moment when you must decide to step forward, trusting that the comfort you yearn for will be replaced by a greater, steadier peace that comes from walking into the invitation. There is a quiet drum in the chest of those who feel called, one that does not beat to the market's rhythm of ease. It is a different pulse, a cadence set by a hand that knows no lullabies of comfort. When the world whispers that stay where you are, your heart answers with a thud that says, I was not made for this. You will find yourself in a room of people humming their own melodies, each note easy, each breath familiar. Yet within you a resonant chord vibrates, demanding a tempo that rises and falls with purpose. It is not a burden to be carried, but a shape that forces the flesh to learn a new dance. The rhythm you are chosen for is not a march of pleasure, but a pilgrimage of perseverance. To walk this beat, guard your inner life as a gardener tends a fragile seed, draw back the noise, silence the empty chatter, and let the stillness of your spirit be the soil. When the whisper of complacency lures you toward the familiar, remind yourself that the heart's true music is heard only in the pause between beats. In practice, set a daily hour of solitude where the world's clamor is muted. Speak your purpose in small, deliberate conversations. Share it with a mentor, a friend, perhaps a stranger. Each act of listening to that different rhythm is a step toward the shape God has carved in you. Remember, the pulse that feels heavy is not a flaw, but a compass pointing toward the place where your comfort will be transformed into service. In the quiet, the chosen heart learns that the only true rhythm is that which moves toward the light, no matter how discordant the surrounding noise. Comfort is a lullaby that drowns purpose. It begins as a gentle hush, a whisper that promises safety in the familiar. You feel the weight of its promise, the soft blanket of ease, the calm of routine, the quiet of a day that never asks more of you than it has ever asked of itself. Yet that hum is not neutral. It is a sedative, a lullaby that steadies the mind so it will never hear the subtle call that lies just beyond the edge of the day. In the same way a lullaby lulls a child to sleep, comfort lulls the heart to complacency. It tells you that all that is needed is to rest in what is known, to trust that the horizon will not move unless you do. The chosen life is a path that never settles. Each quiet moment becomes a battleground. Do you listen to the stillness that says enough, or to the deeper pulse that says more? If you allow comfort to settle over you, it will disguise itself as contentment and mask the ache of the unfulfilled. How to resist? 1. Acknowledge the lullaby's melody, but do not let it control the tempo of your days. 2. Turn to silence, not to be empty, but to feel the stirring of a purpose that only a restless spirit can hear. 3. Seek the unseen. Place your trust not in the warmth of comfort, but in the heat of an uncharted challenge. When you remain awake in this quiet, you discover that the very thing you once called peace is the arena where your calling is sharpened. In the stillness of a moment that feels like comfort, listen for the deeper, steadier song that urges you onward. When the world pours noise into your ears, it is easy to forget that every breath is a turning of a wheel that directs the compass of your soul. You are not a wanderer with a map drawn by chance. You are a vessel for a purpose that has been laid at your feet before your first step. The breath that fills you is the same breath that steadies the needle of that compass. If you let the wind of gossip, the hum of social media, the murmur of idle conversation fill that space, you will find the needle drifting toward comfort instead of the calling that lies beyond the horizon. Guard that breath. It is not a matter of suppression, but of intentional cultivation. Each inhale you take should be an invitation to the quiet presence of God. Each exhale an offering of your own thoughts to His will. When the world demands your attention, when friends ask for your time, when colleagues press for your approval, pause. Let the breath be your anchor, your moment of stillness. In that pause, you will hear the faint whisper that says, "This is the path you were set apart for." Practically set a rhythm. Start each day with a minute of breathing in peace, breathing out distractions. When a thought threatens to pull you toward comfort, notice it. Let it pass like a cloud and return to the breath. This discipline is not a luxury. It is a safeguard against the subtle opposition that seeks to lull you into complacency. In guarding your breath, you hold fast to the compass, keeping it pointed toward the wilderness where purpose grows and comfort dissolves. You feel it, that thrum beneath the clamor of everyday life, a pulse that is not measured in money or applause, but in the steadiness of your attention. It is the quiet currency of the faithful, the unseen weight that settles on the shoulders of those called to be different. When you are chosen, your energy is not a luxury, it is a responsibility. The world will ask you to spend it on the trivial social media scrolls, idle gossip, and the endless pursuit of comfort. Each moment you waste on noise, you sell a fragment of your soul to the marketplace of the mundane. The faithful, however, guard this currency as a precious stone. First, draw a boundary. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is the deliberate stillness that allows the inner voice to be heard over the din. In that pause, you hear the gentle correction of a servant heart. Second, invest in deliberate acts of discipline. The great teachers of old taught that the mind is a garden. Every thought you tend becomes a flower or a weed. Cultivate the good, prune the harmful, and let your actions reflect the steadiness of a well-kept vessel. Remember, the quieter your energy, the louder your purpose becomes. When the world offers comfort as a blanket, you will feel the chill and know that true belonging is found not in ease, but in the deliberate, disciplined use of every breath you are granted. You have been called not to the clamor of a well-furnished room, but to the quiet where the earth itself holds its breath. In that hush, the seeds of your purpose find a place to settle. Imagine a field after a storm, the soil damp and receptive, awaiting the first sprout. That is the silence that surrounds the chosen one, an unassuming soil, yet its texture is laden with the weight of destiny. When the world's noise swells, the roots of conviction are pricked and torn. The louder you try to hear yourself, the more the voice of the world intrudes, a constant vibration that blunts the subtle shift of a heart realigned to God's will. Yet in stillness, the inner voice, soft, deliberate, stirs. It is in that pause between breaths that the divine whispers its plans like a gentle wind over a field of wheat. Practical, set aside a morning, a single hour, where your phone is silenced and your heart is unshackled. Walk into a place of quiet, perhaps a garden or a church aisle, and let the silence be a mirror. Every time you find yourself reaching for distraction, remind yourself that each such impulse is a stone that can either build a wall or be turned into a stepping stone. Remember, comfort is a lullaby that keeps you from digging deep enough. In silence, convictions are sown, watered, and nurtured until they burst forth as a life that stands firm, unshakable, knowing that the soil of stillness was the one that turned you from a simple soul into a vessel of purpose. There is a quiet place in the heart of a storm, a hollow where the clamor of the world falls away. In that hush, the voice that has been yours since the day you were knit in the mystery of grace speaks not with the thunder of a proclamation, but with the gentle insistence of a truth that cannot be ignored. You who have been set apart do not need the applause of comfort. You need the silence that reveals the shape of your calling. When the noise of praise, fear, and expectation swirls around you, seek the stillness that the Lord places before your thoughts. It is there that the whisper of His will turns from a suggestion into a command. To hear that whisper, first guard your attention. The world tempts you to fill every moment with activity. The chosen mind must learn to pause, to let the breath in and out become a metronome for the divine. Next, practice restraint. In the same way the monk withdraws from the world to hear the voice in the desert, you must step back from the comforts that lure you. Remove the distractions that dull the sense of the subtle guidance. Too much noise, too many screens, too many opinions. Finally, trust the discernment that grows from this stillness. It will not be a soft murmur of just stay where you are. It will be a clear, unshakable direction that demands action. When you step into that direction, you will find that the comfort you once craved dissolves into a purpose that is yours alone to live. Listen, because the still voice is the path that turns the set apart into the devoted, the comfort seeker into the chosen one who walks willingly into the unknown. There is a quiet moment when you realize the walls around you have grown thick with the same breath you once breathed with purpose. The family home, the familiar song of your church, the routine of your work, each is a comfort, a soft cloak that promises safety. Yet as a soul set apart, that cloak can become a cage, its seams tightening with complacency. When every echo feels like a promise, the voice that once whispered, "This is yours," fades into the background. You feel the weight of this cage in the way your heart slows, the way you start to measure success by the number of familiar faces rather than the number of souls you touch. The temptation to stay within the comfortable is not a sin. It is a quiet rebellion against the fire that calls you forth. To see beyond, pause at the threshold and ask, what is the silence that follows the familiar? What is the purpose that cannot be satisfied by the same old path? Discipline takes the shape of deliberate departure. Set a boundary, spend one day in a place that is not your own. Speak to someone who sees you as a stranger. Let the discomfort of the unknown be your teacher. It is not the absence of comfort that defines you, but the willingness to rise each time the familiar tries to hold you. Remember, the one who has been chosen is not one who remains in the same room because it is warm, but one who feels the heat of a new horizon. In that heat, your purpose is forged. The cage of complacency will break not by force, but by the intentional act of stepping into the unknown, guided by a quiet, steadfast faith. You have found that place where everything is familiar, where the world feels soft as a lullaby and your heart refuses to stir. It is the sweet spot, the gentle curve between effort and exhaustion, where the soul whispers, "This is enough." Yet the price of staying there is the price of becoming the very thing that keeps you from the horizon. When you cling to the comfort of routine, you trade the sharp edges of challenge for the dull sheen of safety. The fire that once sparked in your hidden corners is smothered under layers of complacency. The world, ever shifting, will not wait for your pause. It will pass you by, and the call that was meant to shape you will echo louder in the silence. Every day you choose the comfortable silence over the uncomfortable call. You pay a debt in quiet. That debt is measured not in gold, but in purpose. It is the slow erosion of your spirit's potential, the quiet surrender to a life that is not yours but borrowed. The sweet spot is a trap that lulls the chosen into the same rhythm that the rest follow, a rhythm that never includes the pulse of a heart set apart. And yet the cost is not a loss of peace, it is a loss of identity. When you remain in the sweet spot, you give up the chance to hear the whisper of your true calling. The moment you step out, the world may feel cold, but your purpose will ignite, and the price you pay will be your own transformation, an irreversible, glorious debt that no comfort can ever repay. You stand at the edge of a familiar valley, the soft hum of routine pressing against the corners of your heart. It is a cradle of ease, woven from familiar faces, predictable mornings, and the comforting silence of complacency. Yet, in its quiet, a distant wind stirs, an invitation that does not belong to the ordinary. When that whisper grows louder, it is not a gentle suggestion, but a summons that demands attention. The call is not a promise of bliss. It is a call to step into the unknown, to leave behind the familiar as a pilgrim leaves the safety net of home. In this act, you discover that comfort is a counterfeit, an illusion that masks the true work God has laid upon you. To hear the call is to listen with a heart that has already begun to ache for more. It requires a deliberate unburdening, dropping the weight of idle comforts, the allure of instant gratification, the safety of untested paths. It is a quiet courage, not a loud rebellion, an intentional letting go of what keeps you rooted in the same soil you have always known. You may feel the tremor of fear, the shadow of doubt. Yet, remember that the very act of stepping out is a testament to the trust you place in the one who whispered first. Each footfall becomes a prayer, each pause a meditation on the purpose that lies beyond the horizon of ease. Listen, dear one, for the stillness that follows the call is where you meet the shape of your destiny. You stand in a circle of voices, each one a bright thread in a tapestry that feels, at first, warm and whole. Yet a shadow slips between the stitches, jealousy's quiet thief. It does not roar. It only whispers, "I am not enough for the light you share." In the fellowship of the chosen, that whisper can become a storm, a churning tide that pulls the heart from its appointed current. The first sign is the sudden, aching comparison. You look at a brother's gift, a sister's triumph, and feel a cold tug that says, "Why not me?" The second is the subtle, almost invisible envy that sits next to praise, asking for a place in your confidence. That is the enemy of the refinement you are undergoing. In the furnace of purpose, such heat burns the very metal that is being forged. You must guard the field of your inner life. Turn the flame of your attention toward humility, not a mirror of self. When the shadow lingers, ask yourself, does this envy strengthen my love for the one who chose me, or does it erode the trust that he has placed in my path? The remedy is twofold. First, pray for a heart that sees others as instruments of the same grace. Second, speak the truth of your own purpose, not the lie of competition. Remember, comfort is a blanket that hides the frost. In the furnace of chosenness, let jealousy melt into a lesson, not a prison. The fellowship that rises from that lesson is no longer a circle of self, but a community of purpose, each hand reaching for the same summit. In the quiet hours, when the world has dimmed to a hush, a whisper slips into your thoughts, a shadow that lingers just beyond the edge of your vision. It calls itself distraction, but it is the unseen saboteur that steals attention from the one task the Lord has laid upon your heart. You may think it a harmless idle moment, a fleeting glance at a passing thought. Yet each such departure is a wound, a small fissure that gathers more until the great river of your purpose is diverted. Remember how a shepherd keeps his flock safe. He does not allow a stray hawk to snatch a lamb. Likewise, guard your spirit with the vigilance of a seasoned hunter. The world offers glittering mirages, social media scrolls, endless news, the siren call of temporary pleasure. These are not mere diversions. They are bait laid by the enemy, designed to keep your gaze from the throne where your work is being formed. When you feel that pull, pause. Breathe as if you were a stone in a stream, and let the currents of silence settle over you. Let the stillness become a shield, a reminder that the Lord's work is not done in the noise, but in the quiet. Each moment you resist, each breath you hold, is a stitch in the tapestry of your calling, sealing the seams against the saboteur's intrusion. You are not alone in this battle. Strength is not found in the clamor of comfort, but in the disciplined focus of a servant who knows that the path ahead is paved with silence, not idle chatter. The saboteur may be unseen, but the light of purpose is a lantern that will outshine it, guiding you to where you are truly called to be. Discernment is not a spark that falls into your hands at a single moment. It is a muscle that grows through the repetition of small, deliberate movements. In the stillness of the morning, before the world has opened its doors, you can feel the first tug of choice, whether to linger in the comfort of familiar patterns or to step into the unknown. Each of those moments is an exercise, a tiny flex that either strengthens or weakens the limb of your spirit. Consider the way a body learns to navigate a tightrope. The first step is hesitant, a trembling that tells you where the wind will catch you. The second step, guided by a breath, steadies you. The third, with a clear sense of balance, lets you know that the path ahead is not a random drift, but a purposeful line. Your daily discernment is the same process. When you pause to listen to the quiet voice that rises above the cacophony of modern life, you are training that muscle to recognize the subtle opposition of pride, distraction, and the siren song of complacency. Every decision, whether to stay in a relationship that no longer nourishes you or to pursue a calling that feels like a whisper in a crowded room, is a rep. The more you practice, the stronger your resolve becomes. And just as a well-trained muscle can perform with grace under pressure, a disciplined discernment will carry you through seasons of doubt and into places where comfort is no longer a refuge, but a reminder of how far you have come. In the hush that follows a storm, the chosen heart is not still for comfort, it is forged. Imagine a furnace that does not warm the body but hones the steel. That furnace is stillness and intentional. Pause where the noise of the world is quieted and the spirit is exposed to the fire of God's grace. You may think silence is a void, a place where the soul retreats, yet it is a crucible. When the wind of distraction dies down, the flame of faith ignites, and only those who endure the heat are tempered. The comfort of routine, the ease of familiar comforts, are the softening blankets that hide the furnace. In their absence, the chosen one confronts the raw edges of his purpose. To use stillness as a furnace. First, set boundaries that shield your attention from the clamor. Turn off the phone, step outside the office, close the door. In that quiet, let the questions rise. Who am I for? What does my heart whisper in the silence? Listen as a disciple listens to a shepherd's call, not as a mind that seeks answers, but as a heart that seeks presence. When the fire seems too fierce, remember that every spark of doubt is a test. The furnace does not consume the chosen one. It strengthens him, hardening resolve, sharpening discernment. In the still, he sees that comfort was never meant as a refuge, but as a mirror, an echo of complacency. The true furnace burns away that mirror, revealing the shape of the one he is called to become. Thus, embrace stillness not as a pause, but as a furnace, for it is in the quiet heat that the chosen one's faith is forged into a sword that cuts through the noise of the world. Unanswered prayers do not mean God has turned his back. They mean the flame is being tempered. When you lift your heart and find only quiet, remember that the crucible of patience is forged not in the heat of victory, but in the stillness where the soul is pressed. Like a sculptor who removes the excess stone, a silent answer removes the distractions that would otherwise keep you in a comfort zone of certainty. In that pause, the chosen one learns to trust the rhythm of a distant drum rather than the clatter of a nearby fan. Pause and ask, am I listening to my own longing or to the still, patient whisper of the Spirit? The silence that follows an unanswered prayer invites you to examine the motives that have shaped your request. Is it a desire for an easy path, a sense of entitlement, or a genuine invitation to grow? The more you wrestle with this question, the more your purpose sharpens. Practical step, write the prayer down, set it aside, and spend a day in deliberate neglect of that particular need. Use that time to serve, to talk to those you have avoided, to learn humility. The act of waiting becomes a training ground for the kind of patience that the Lord demands from those set apart. In the quiet, the chosen one does not simply endure, he is reborn. The unanswered prayer is not a pause, but a deliberate beat in the symphony of divine timing, a reminder that comfort is a mirage and true life is measured by the courage to wait, to grow, to become the shape he has intended. Patience is not a passive waiting. It is a quiet flame that refuses to be extinguished by the wind of doubt or the glare of immediate reward. Imagine, if you will, a candle laid upon the altar of your purpose. The flame burns with a steady light. Though the room may be cold, the night may be long. It does not flare at the slightest breeze, nor does it dim when the world around you offers the comforting glow of easy success. For you who feel the weight of a calling that does not whisper, patience is the vessel that holds this light. You have learned that comfort is a thief, stealing the sharp edges that shape the soul. Yet in the absence of that comfort, the flame of patience must grow, not from a sudden burst, but from a slow, deliberate nourishment. Each day you choose to lay down a small, deliberate act of faith, an hour of silence against the din, a word of kindness when you feel the urge to retreat. These are the gentle oils that keep the flame steady. It is not a luxury to linger in complacency. It is a discipline, a quiet resistance against the promise that everything should happen instantly. When the night is darkest and the doubts are loudest, remember that a flame that does not flicker is forged in fire, the same fire that tested the prophets, the saints, the lovers of the Lord. Let your patience be the same fire patient, relentless, unshakable. In this unhurried steadiness, your purpose will bloom not into a sudden burst, but into a sustained, radiant reality that no comfort can rival. When the world whispers that you should surrender, that the path should be gentle, when the heart begs for rest, the stone is already in place. You who have been set apart are not called to the soft meadow, but to the mountain. Endurance is not a luxury of the weary. It is the very mortar that holds the structure of your calling together. Imagine a stone forged in fire, cooled in silence, bearing a weight no one else can lift. Each trial is a stone's own gravity, each setback a pressure that shapes its surface. You hear the echo of your own footsteps in the cavern of your spirit, and you must learn to walk with purpose rather than to flee the echoes. Do not mistake endurance for resignation. It is not the absence of pain, but the presence of a steadfast heart. When doubts arrive as nightfall, let your focus be the lamp that does not dim. When distractions bloom like summer grass, trim them with the quiet of a seasoned gardener. When opposition whispers, respond with the calm certainty that comes from knowing your worth is not measured by comfort, but by the depth of your commitment. The practical way to build this stone is simple each day. Choose one act that feels like a small battle. Say no to a familiar comfort. Stand firm in a truth you fear. Keep your eyes on the summit rather than the path's soft curve. In these moments, you are not merely enduring, you are forging your own destiny. And when the weight is heavy, remember the stone does not break because it is strong. It becomes strong because it has been made to hold the weight. Let your endurance be the quiet testament that your calling is not a gift for ease, but a covenant of resilience. You have heard the quiet summons once before, like a wind that does not announce itself. It is not a shout from the crowd, but a murmur that presses against the very edges of your breath. That whisper is obedience, and it is the courage that refuses to be lulled by familiar comforts. When you stay in the light of your own peace, the world smiles with gentle ease, yet the path chosen for you is paved with silence. Obedience demands that you step beyond the softness of routine and into the sharp edges of purpose. It asks you to turn your back on the warm hearth of complacency and walk into the chill of uncertainty, knowing that every step is a claim to a higher calling. You might feel the tug of your own comfort, a familiar pull that whispers, "Stay where you are enough." Yet the truth you carry is that you were not fashioned to be content with enough. The quiet courage of obedience is not a grand gesture. It is the daily decision to heed a small, unblinking voice in the dark. It is the act of turning your gaze inward, guarding your focus, and refusing distractions that dilute the shape of your destiny. In that steadfastness, you discover a strength that does not roar but steadies the heart. Obedience, then, is not a rebellion against the world, but a faithful surrender to a purpose that refuses comfort. It is your quiet defiance, a discipline that keeps you moving toward the horizon you were made to chase. You have been called to a quiet path, but the world's applause rings louder in your ear. Pride is a mirage that rises from the heat of our own ambitions. It paints comfort in bright gold, yet it is a mirage that leads us away from the very call that set us apart. When you feel that spark of superiority, ask yourself, what is the source of this flame? Is it the approval of the crowd or the quiet conviction that you are fulfilling a purpose no one else can? In the sanctuary of stillness, you will find that the greatest comfort is not a seat of ease, but a seat of service. Pride invites us to sit in our own shadow, to believe we already hold the keys to the kingdom that has been entrusted to us. The antidote is humility, a deliberate act of turning outward. When you practice listening to the needs of those around you, the mirror of your own ego will soften. Practical steps: 1. Record the moments when your mind races to boast. 2. Replace each boast with a question, how can I help? 3. Anchor your day in a brief pause, a breath that is not for self, but for the task at hand. Remember, The chosen one is not measured by applause, but by the quiet courage to let comfort dissolve into purpose. When pride fades, the true weight of your calling rises, steady and unshaken. You stand at the threshold of a quiet room, one that no living soul has ever occupied, but the Lord has laid out for you. In that stillness, the first thing you feel is the weight of an unspoken invitation to look into a mirror that does not show your reflection, but the shape of his need. Humility is not a cloak of modesty that hides the self. It is a polished surface that catches the light of God's purpose. When you set down the armor of comfort, the mirror cracks and reveals a portrait of a heart that has been worn thin by the weight of its own certainties. Each time you lift a hand to silence a thought of "I am enough," you are, in fact, opening a window for the divine to pour into the gaps you have built. To cultivate this mirror, begin with a daily pause. Step back from the noise, your phone, your to-do list, the applause of the world, and ask yourself, what does the Lord need from me today? Let the answer guide a small act of service, a word of kindness, a moment of silence. When pride tempts you to stand on a pedestal of accomplishments, let humility pull you back to the pedestal that holds only what God places there. Remember, the chosen ones do not grow from the comfort of certainty. They grow from the discomfort of seeing themselves as instruments, not masters. In that uncomfortable reflection, you find the strength to step forward, not because you have reached a final destination, but because you have been set apart to be a vessel for a need that surpasses any comfort you might feel. In the quiet moments after the day's clamor has died, you sense the weight of a promise you cannot unmake. Freedom and duty do not lie in opposition. They are two arms of the same covenant. You have been lifted from the noise, from the comfortable hum of just enough, and you are asked to hold the world in a new shape. Freedom, in its truest sense, is not a license to wander aimlessly. It is the freedom to act for the sake of a purpose that eclipses your own desires. The very same love that shaped you into a vessel of purpose grants you the liberty to step forward when the path is uncertain. Duty, however, is the steady hand that keeps that liberty from slipping into idle wandering. It is the quiet insistence that your freedom is not a gift to be squandered, but a responsibility to be honored. When you feel the pull toward leisure, remember the quiet voice of the one who calls you. A voice that does not shout but whispers, "Do not rest while the world waits." Let each act be a small rebellion against complacency, a deliberate choice to walk the road laid before you instead of the one that comforts. In this delicate dance, each step of discipline is a step of grace. Each moment of restraint is a step toward a destiny that refuses to be content. You are not shackled, you are tethered to a higher rhythm. The freedom you cherish becomes a hymn only when it sings in harmony with the duty that breathes life into it. You stand at the threshold of a room that has sheltered you all your life. Walls of routine, a bed of familiar sounds, a cup that never runs dry. That room, though it feels safe, is a cage of quiet, and the very comfort it offers is a chain that holds you in the place the Lord has set you to cross. Releasing old comforts is not a rash, reckless act. It is a deliberate sacrifice, a choice to step into the wilderness that the Creator has prepared for your growth. When you let go, you are not abandoning love. You are inviting a deeper, more enduring love that cannot be found in the echo of your own comfort. First, identify the comforts that have become idols. Perhaps it is the comfort of status, the certainty of routine, or the refuge of self-satisfaction. Notice the way they whisper, "You are safe here." They are the soft, seductive lullabies that mask a louder, more urgent call. Second, replace these comforts with disciplines that shape your spirit. Begin with silence. Sit alone with the quiet in the morning, letting the stillness strip away the noise that keeps you from hearing God's whisper. Engage in service that demands more from you than your comfort would allow. Walk a path that feels uncertain. Let the fear of the unknown be a reminder that the only certainty you have is the one you hold in God's hands. The act of surrendering comfort is a sacrificial love. It is an act of trust that the Lord will fill the void with purpose, and that the only true warmth you will ever need is the one from the one who chose you. In this release, you discover that comfort was never meant to be yours. It was a prelude to a greater, more glorious life. There is a quiet moment when the world feels like a cavern of shadows, each echo a question, what am I meant to do? In that darkness, the first spark is not a flame of self-confidence, but a stubborn light that refuses to be swallowed. It is the pulse of a purpose that has been threaded into your very marrow, a purpose that is not a gift of privilege, but a covenant of work. You, the one set apart, are the vessel of that light. Your calling does not seek comfort, it seeks clarity. The light that pierces the gloom is not born of your own strength, but of the hand that placed your heart in this place. When you walk into the night, let the quiet of your breath be a lantern that refuses to dim. Every task, no matter how small, becomes a spark that feeds the flame. When distractions flare like street lamps on a stormy night, turn your gaze inward. The discipline to focus, to say no to the noise, is the same discipline that keeps your light from flickering. Remember, the night does not last forever. The purpose in you is not a refuge of ease, but a torch that must burn in the wild places. So let the light that you carry be a testimony. Let it pierce the darkest corners, not to boast, but to illuminate the path for those still in the gloom. Your purpose is not a comfort, but a calling that, when lived, turns night into a testament of hope. You have felt the first tremor of a storm against the quiet of your heart. It is not a passing gust, but a grinding of stone against stone, a shaping hand that knows neither mercy nor hesitation. In that moment, the comfort of ease shatters, and you are left with a raw silence that presses against the edges of your soul. Suffering is the sculptor of the chosen's character. It does not draw a picture from a blank canvas. It chisels away the excess, revealing the form beneath. Each hardship you endure is a deliberate strike, a deliberate removal that brings the shape of purpose into clearer view. Like a potter's wheel, the clay is pressed, the heat applied until the vessel is strong enough to hold the spirit it will carry. Notice the way pain quiets the noise of your own thoughts, forcing you to listen to the still voice that knows your true path. It is not an invitation to wallow, but a summons to rise. When you feel the weight of sorrow, ask yourself, how can this be refined into a sharper tool? When the world offers a retreat into comfort, step into the crucible and keep your gaze fixed on the center of your calling. In the quiet after the storm, there is an honest conversation with yourself. You will find that the same hands that have broken you have also blessed you with resilience. Let each trial be a lesson in humility, a call to trust that the one who shapes you is not indifferent, but deliberate. The comfort you seek is a lie. The endurance you build is your true inheritance. When the road ahead dissolves into a mist of uncertainty, you feel the tug of every voice that has ever spoken to you. Friends, culture, even your own thoughts. An unchosen traveler would seek the brightest lamp, but you, called for a different light, have learned to walk in the dim glow of the one who has set the path. The first truth that will settle in your heart is this: doubt is not a detour, it is a stone laid to steady your feet. Each trembling step is a prayer in disguise, a test that asks whether you will keep moving because your purpose calls, not because you seek comfort. Remember the quiet counsel of the shepherd who, though surrounded by flocks, walked alone through the night, trusting that the same hand that guided the lambs also leads him. In the same way, let silence be your companion. When doubt shrouds the horizon, close your eyes and hear the whisper of that unseen guide rather than the clamor of fear. Practical as a lantern in the dark, keep your focus on the next step. A single footfall, measured and deliberate, will dissolve the fog. Do not let your heart grow weary of solitude. Let it grow in the firm conviction that the path you tread is the one carved for you. And when the journey seems endless, remember the one who chose you does not make the road easy, but he makes its purpose unmistakable. Walk, therefore, with the certainty that every uncertain bend is a deliberate turning toward the one who has entrusted you. You stand amid a hush that seems to promise peace, a quiet that whispers, "You are safe here." Yet the very calm can become a cage. Choosing to remain is an act of discernment, not a surrender to comfort. When you feel the pull to stay, ask yourself, what does the silence conceal? In the stillness of a familiar room, the echo of your own thoughts may be louder than the voices of truth. Recognize that the comfort you chase is often a mirage, a pause in the storm that hides the path ahead. The first sign that staying is not a refuge is the faint tug of restlessness. It is not impatience, but a subtle ache that your heart is yearning for something beyond the familiar. It is the same sensation that stirred the early Christians to leave their homes and move into the unknown. Second, examine the people around you. Are they the kind that lift you toward the light, or the ones that drag you back into the dark? A true disciple does not tolerate companions who refuse to rise. Silence does not mean isolation. It means cutting ties that dilute your purpose. Third, measure the work that keeps you. Does it honor the calling that has been laid upon you, or does it merely fill time? The chosen one is not a servant of idle duty, but a steward of a higher calling. In this moment of decision, let your heart be a compass, not a comfort. Stay only where the silence is a gateway, not a wall. The path ahead may be rough, but it is the only way that truly reflects your being. The rest of the world will be waiting for you, not to be contented, but to be transformed. There is a quiet moment in which a storm of doubt gathers at the edge of your vision, and the world in its bustling noise offers a lullaby of ease. Yet you, called to a higher horizon, must turn that lullaby into a wall. The first brick of that wall is your own breath, each inhale a vow to silence the whisper of comfort that tempts you to settle. You have been forged in the furnace of purpose. The furnace's heat is not a luxury, but a lesson. To keep the fire from seeping into the hollow spaces of complacency, you must erect a fortress of faith that resists the tempter's subtle hand. It is not a fortress built of stone, but of deliberate choices, the quiet mornings spent in stillness, the relentless pursuit of truth in the face of distraction, the steady confession of your smallest fears to a higher judge. When the tempter enters, a quiet strength rises. Speak to yourself with the same voice that the wise speak to the soul. I am not a vessel of comfort, I am a vessel of purpose. Let each word be a stone, each silence a mortar. You will find that the true defense is not a single act of stubbornness, but a succession of small, steadfast actions: reading, prayer, service, and the humility to ask for help when the weight of command grows heavy. In this way, your fortress does not wall off joy, but channels it into a channel of unshakable faith. Remember, the call to be chosen does not promise ease. It demands that you stand firm, for comfort is the enemy's greatest sedition. There is a quiet truth that the world will not tell you. A secret kept in the hush between heartbeats. Solitude is not a shelter against the storm. It is the furnace where your purpose is forged. When you feel the weight of your calling pressing like a stone against your chest, the first impulse is to pull back, to linger in the familiar glow of companionship and comfort. Yet comfort, that soft cushion of routine, is a cloak that dims the sharp edges of the divine design. It is easy to mistake the silence of the quiet house for a sanctuary. But a sanctuary is not a place of avoidance. It is a place of being. In those moments of stillness, your breath is the only companion, and the world dissolves to a single point of focus: you and the one who shaped you. Here, the noise of doubt is stripped away, and the subtle currents of the spirit pulse louder. The challenge is to stay in that hush, not to escape, but to listen, to discern the faint whisper of a higher intention that the noise of comfort would otherwise swallow. Remember that true solitude demands courage. It asks you to face the darkness within, to confront the pride that clings to the comfort of the ordinary. Each breath taken in that stillness is a step toward the destiny that God has set before you. Thus, when the call grows louder and the path narrows, let the quiet of your inner chamber become a sanctuary of transformation, not a refuge from the world. In that place, you are not merely surviving. You are being made, refined, and prepared to step into the purpose that comfort never intended for you. You have walked a road that others cannot see, yet at moments the world's soft pull whispers, "Stay where you are, it is easier." The comfort you once craved has become a cloak, a quiet betrayal that disguises itself as contentment. It is not a fleeting sigh, it is a subtle, relentless shift of your focus, a quiet surrender to the lull of the familiar. When the heart leans toward ease, the spirit feels the heat of a slow fire, bright at first but destined to dim. The call that once rattled your bones begins to sound like a distant drum, muffled by the noise of complacency. You may think you are safe, but the true danger lies in the erosion of purpose, the erosion of the very flame that set you apart. To counter this, place your attention on the quiet moments when the world stills. In those breaths, you will find the weight of the mission that refuses to be silenced. Recognize that silence is not absence, it is a furnace. Let the discipline of restraint become your armor. When you feel the gentle tug of comfort, remind yourself that a chosen path is not a path of leisure, but of deliberate struggle. The road ahead will not be smooth. It will be a series of choices to stand firm in the heat of the struggle, or to retreat into the cool of complacency. You were set apart not for the ease of the journey, but for the glory that waits beyond the discomfort. Embrace that truth and let it burn brighter than any comfort can dim. You have learned that comfort is a quiet enemy, a soft blanket that drapes over the edges of a heart that ought to be open. When the world whispers that staying in the place you know is safe, the deeper voice of the Spirit presses. Here, in the light of the unthinkable, you will be shaped. The first lesson in growth is to notice that each moment of relinquishing a familiar warmth is a step into a still, untamed valley. In that valley, the wind is sharp enough to cut the leaves of certainty, and the silence is heavy with the weight of purpose. Yet, it is there that your spirit is stretched, like a muscle that has never been pulled beyond its limits. Practice this each morning. Ask yourself which comfort will be the most useful to let go of. Will it be the certainty of routine, the safety of familiar friendships, a particular fear that keeps your eyes fixed on the horizon? When you feel the sting of that loss, do not retreat. Instead, anchor yourself in the truth that the very act of walking away is a deliberate pilgrimage. The wisdom of silence teaches that true growth cannot be hurried. Give yourself time to hear the quiet voice that says, "I am more than a comfortable place." Let the stillness remind you that the path you walk is not for ease, but for the kind of love that endures beyond the present. Remember, comfort is a lullaby for the soul that has not yet been called. In its sacrifice, your heart becomes a vessel, ready to receive the fullness of a purpose that does not fit the comforts of the world, but the promise of a greater horizon. You stand not as a traveler seeking stillness, but as a vessel in a restless river. In the quiet hours of morning, when the world is still and your own thoughts are loud, remember that your soul is a cup that must remain empty to receive the wine of purpose. The comfort of habit, the safety of routine, the applause of self-satisfaction, these are the currents that pull you away from the current that truly moves you. A vessel that clings to its own warmth becomes a pot that never lets the fire touch its interior. When you seek a harbor in your own comfort, you block the divine wind that ought to fill you. Each time you settle into the familiar, you are in truth discarding a piece of the grace that is poured into the world through you. The Lord does not ask you to be a sanctuary, but to be a conduit, a spring that overflows. Begin each day by turning your gaze inward. Breathe once. Think once. Say one quiet prayer that asks for emptiness rather than fullness. When the voice of comfort whispers, "Stay, it is good here," let it be a soft wind against a sail that has lost its shape. Let your heart be the sail that catches the heavens, not the anchor that keeps you on the shore. In the divine flow, the vessel that yields to the current does not drown, it rises. And in that rise, you will find that the only comfort you need is the knowledge that you are held, not held, by a purpose far greater than your own desire. The quiet that swells inside you is not a haven but a battlefield. In the hush between breaths, the unseen enemy takes shape, whispering that your journey is a mistake, that the call was a dream. It wears the veil of comfort, an easy path, a familiar crowd, the soft approval of those who never ask what you truly seek. You feel it when the world says, "You're fine as you are." That is the enemy's voice, cloaked in praise. It lures you into complacency, into the rhythm of a life that does not require the grinding of purpose. But the divine task demands that you shun that rhythm and step into the silence where only the Lord speaks. Guard your inner life as you would a precious flame. Let each thought be measured, each distraction a test. The enemy will not always shout. It will murmur in the corners of your mind, offering just a moment more or a few more comforts. When it does, pause, speak its name, distraction. Then return to the quiet center that was assigned to you. Remember, the chosen one does not evade resistance. He embraces it as proof of his worth. The more he resists, the clearer his purpose becomes. In that resistance, in that silent stand, you grow not from comfort, but from the furnace of faith. And the furnace is only there to shape the one you were meant to become. There is a quiet that follows a decision, a hush that is not emptiness, but a space for the soul to breathe. When you feel that pull into the unknown, know that the hand of the one who set you apart is not withdrawing, it is refining. Uncertainty is not a sign of failure, but a sign that you are moving beyond the comfortable plateau you once called home. You have been placed in a place where the familiar fades. The world will ask you to settle, to cling to the reassuring rhythm of routine. It will whisper that the choice you made is foolish, that the path ahead is unclear. Yet in that very murmur lies the furnace that will shape your spirit. For those chosen to walk a different road, certainty is a luxury that corrodes the sharpness of purpose. To embrace uncertainty, first guard your inner life like a precious flame. Turn to silence, to the stillness behind the chatter of your own thoughts. In that quiet, let the Lord's whisper become louder than your doubts. Then, step forward with a single, deliberate act. Write a prayer, speak a truth to a friend, volunteer in a way that feels foreign yet right. Each small act is a stone laid upon the path. Remember that growth is not measured by how fast you reach the destination, but by how deeply you feel the tension of the present moment. In the midst of uncertainty, let humility be your compass and endurance your companion. The comfort you once knew will leave you. In its place, a sharper, more purposeful heart will beat, guided by the hand that set you apart. In the hush before sunrise, when the world still clings to sleep, you feel a pulse that is not your own, an echo of a purpose that longs to be lived. That pulse is the heartbeat of a chosen life, and it demands renewal each day. It is not a gentle lullaby, but a steady drum that reminds you that comfort is a trap, not a gift. You must learn to turn that drum into a rhythm of intentional living. Begin each morning with a quiet pause, a soft surrender of the day's noise, and ask yourself, what has the Spirit asked me to leave behind today? Let the answer guide your actions. Then, in the middle of the day, carve a moment of stillness. In that pause, sift through the distractions that have slipped into your mind. Remove what is idle chatter, what feeds pride or jealousy, and keep only what refines your focus. Evening requires a different kind of renewal. Reflect on the steps you took to honor the call. Write what you learned, what you resisted, and what you surrendered. The words become a map, and the map becomes a compass for tomorrow. Remember, this daily renewal is not a luxury, but a discipline. It is the furnace that keeps your chosen destiny from rusting. Each breath of intentional practice, each moment of quiet, stitches the fabric of your life into something that can bear the weight of a purpose that was never meant to rest in comfort. Imagine a ladder, each rung a choice that clings to the ordinary and lifts it into the extraordinary. You are not here to rest on your comfort. You are called to ascend the narrow steps that only a chosen heart can see. The first rung is a quiet morning, when the world is still and the only sound is your breath. Commit to that silence, to listening for the subtle voice of purpose. The second rung is the act of saying yes to the task that feels more like a burden than a blessing. Even the smallest act, sending a prayer, offering a listening ear, refusing a distraction, builds a structure that will bear the weight of your calling. Each step is a discipline, a daily moment of reflection, a deliberate act of humility, a stubborn refusal to be complacent. The ladder does not care for the height of the climb. It cares for the steady placement of each foot. Remember that the greatest transformations begin in the narrowest rooms of our lives. A single act of love, a single moment of truth, a single decision to step out of the noise can become the foundation of a kingdom. When you feel the pull of comfort, let it be the wind that pushes you higher rather than the anchor that keeps you still. The ladder to monumental change is laid by small, intentional steps, each one a testament that you have been set apart for purpose, not for ease. Stand at the base, breathe, and begin to climb. The summit waits for no one, but it is reachable by those who dare to place one small, faithful step after another. Silence is the quiet furnace that refines the gold of your spirit. When you step into the hush of a church, a library, or the stillness of a midnight walk, you feel the world's chatter dimming until only your breath remains. In that pause, the voice that has been raised, the one that has been chosen, is forced to listen to the voice that has been forgotten, your own heart, humbled by the weight of purpose. You are not chosen to be the loudest in the room. You are chosen to be the one who hears the trembling call of the next soul. Silence strips away the armor of self-congratulation. It forces you to confront the echo of your own pride and to hear God's quiet correction. The more you practice this stillness, the more you become attuned to the subtle counter-voice of the world, jealousy, distraction, the seductive comfort of complacency. In the silence, you learn that humility is not a surrender, but a discipline, a deliberate choice to let go of the need to be understood or admired. It is a reminder that every act of service, every moment of patience, is a response to a higher hand that has already set your path. When you rest in this quiet, you find that comfort has no room there. It is the noise that keeps you from hearing the faint yet fervent whisper of destiny. So let the silence be your teacher. Let it sharpen your focus, cleanse your spirit, and remind you that the chosen one moves not for comfort, but for a covenant that demands the humility of a pilgrim, the courage of a soldier, and the heart of a child who trusts the road ahead. You have learned that a quiet heart is a fortress, but a fortress is only useful if its walls are built of truth. When the world invites you into the warmth of companionship, it whispers, "You belong here, you are safe." Yet the very warmth that comforts can smother the fire that is being forged within you. In the tapestry of your calling, each thread of relationship must be inspected. A friend who celebrates your victories may also be a mirror that reflects only what the world sees of you, not what the Lord sees. A lover who speaks kindly may still be a vessel that draws your focus from the one hand that shapes you. Guard your inner life by asking one simple question before each connection. Does this person illuminate the road I am walking, or does it dim it? If the answer is dim, do not be tempted by the softness of familiarity. In the silence of a lone walk, you will hear a gentle voice that says, "This is not the one who holds your purpose." Remember that a protective shield is not a wall that keeps all out, but a discerning eye that lets in only those who echo the truth of your divine blueprint. When you turn away from comfort that would quiet your beating, you keep the space open for the invisible hand that is guiding you. Thus, let your relationships be a liturgy of purpose, not a lullaby of ease. In each interaction, ask yourself, am I being drawn toward the light, or am I resting in the shade? For the chosen one, the path is not paved with comfort, but with courage, and every choice of companion must honor that truth. There is a quiet place in the heart where the old world of comfort has built a wall, and you, though you feel its weight, stand beneath it, wondering whether it will ever break. It is a wall that whispers, "You are safe here, you are enough." Yet the voice that calls from the other side is louder, an echo of purpose that refuses to be silenced. When you step out of that comfortable shadow, you do not run. You walk with measured steps, each one a deliberate surrender of self. Commitment is not a grand, sudden leap, but a series of small, stubborn acts that refuse to let the familiar swallow the true. It is the quiet decision to say yes to the long, rough road, even when the path is dim and the night is long. You see the comfort of routine, the warmth of familiar faces, the easy rhythm of unchallenged days. But the call that has been woven into your bones cannot be satisfied by that rhythm. It demands that you guard your attention, that you silence the noise that masquerades as peace. It urges you to let go of the easy, to choose the unseen, the unearned, the relentless pursuit of a purpose that sits in your marrow. To honor this, begin each day with a single resolve to be still enough to hear the whisper, to act even when the next step feels like a stumble. Let your devotion to the calling be a steady flame that, though small, burns brighter than any comfort. Remember, the true work of being chosen is not a privilege of ease, but a calling that calls you to the edge, where the soul is shaped, not comforted. When the world's applause fades, when the familiar hum of your daily life becomes a hollow echo, you may feel alone. That emptiness is not a wound, but a clearing. It is the space where the Lord draws you away from comfort, inviting you to step into a larger field where your hands, your heart, and your silence are needed. Being missed is the first sign that you are being set aside for a purpose that surpasses your own desires. You do not choose to be left behind. The hand that knows your worth pulls you forward. In that moment, consider the lilies, which do not linger on the ground but rise to the heavens. Your sacrifice is not a loss but a gift, an offering that, though hidden, will be seen by the one who fashioned you. Like a candle that burns itself to feed another, your withdrawal from the familiar becomes a beacon for those still shrouded in shadow. Practical wisdom: begin by listening for the quiet. When the noise of comfort stirs, hear the still voice that says, "Go." Let your relationships, your routines, and your comforts be measured by the measure of that quiet. Let your endurance be a steady breath, not a frantic sprint. And remember, the world will miss your presence in places where it is needed most, for it is in those places that your light will shine the brightest. When the wind howls and the sky cracks open, the world swells with fear. In that moment, you might mistake the loud roar for a signal that you are no longer alone. Yet the true message is quieter. Still, the storm is a furnace, not a refuge. The chosen life does not rest on the comfort of calm, but on the certainty that something larger presses against the edges of the tempest. Imagine a lone lighthouse keeper, his lantern trembling against a gale. He does not seek to smooth the waves. He simply keeps the light steady, trusting that the beam will find its way to the shore. In the same way, the divine presence is a steady flame that does not vanish when the wind rises. It is not a blanket of ease, but a hand that steadies the trembling heart. You can feel this presence by turning the volume down within yourself, by withdrawing from the cacophony of thoughts and listening for that single unmistakable voice that does not demand applause. Let it be a quiet assurance that the storm is part of your refinement, not a verdict of failure. When you anchor your focus on that steady breath, you discover that comfort is a misnomer. What you need is resolve. Practical steps: pause at the edge of each storm, breathe, and ask, where does the light come from? Let the answer be a reminder that you are forged by the fire, not sheltered from it. In the silence of the tempest, you will find the true companion of a chosen path, not the hollow echo of comfort. You stand at the threshold of a quiet room where the world's noise has already faded. In that hush, the first truth of a chosen life unfolds. Comfort is a cloak that conceals the fire of service. Self-care is a necessary pause, a replenishment of the vessel. It is not the destination. The higher calling asks you to pour that same vigor into the hands of others, to translate your solitude into a shared light. When you feel the weight of your own restlessness, remember that the very same restlessness is a compass pointing toward those whom the world has left behind. Offer your listening ear not as a balm for your own weary heart, but as a bridge across their chasms. In moments of silence, ask yourself, who is pressing against the door of my comfort? Who needs my quiet presence more than my own? The practice is simple yet profound. Set aside 1 hour each day to do something that benefits a stranger, a neighbor, a child. Even a small act of kindness shifts the balance from self-sufficiency to selflessness. Do not be fooled by the illusion that service is a sacrifice devoid of reward. The reward is the widening of your sight, the deepening of your empathy, and the quiet conviction that you are walking in a path the Lord has carved for you. Your comfort will never be a finished work. It is a stepping stone toward a life that echoes the great command, love one another as I have loved you. In this service, you find the true comfort that the world cannot offer, a peace born of purpose and shared grace. When the world roars, when the wind has turned the harbor of your thoughts into a storm, you may feel the urge to cling to every soft word or fleeting comfort. Yet the one who carries the torch of purpose must learn to steady the helm by a single, unyielding practice, disciplined prayer. You are the vessel that has been set apart, not to drift in a quiet lake, but to navigate the rough seas of expectation, doubt, and unseen opposition. Prayer, far from a luxury, is the rope that keeps you from being tossed by the tide. It is a deliberate, steadfast act, an intentional pause that draws you back to the center of the one who shapes your life. Begin by carving a fixed hour each day, a time when the world's noise is muted and your heart can speak without interruption. In that silence, speak with the same conviction you use to write a letter to a dear friend, clear, honest, and unafraid of the truth. Allow the rhythm of your breath to be a metronome that reminds you that you are not alone. The Lord is listening. When distractions whisper promises of comfort, let your prayer be a quiet counter-argument. Remind yourself that the chosen path is not paved with ease, but with purpose. Each word you utter is a stone laid in the foundation of your resolve. Remember, in the storm of life, the one who keeps his anchor, his disciplined prayer will find not only steadiness, but a courage that grows louder with each breath. This is your compass, your promise, and your quiet rebellion against the very comfort that would have you drift away. You have walked beside familiar hills, the echo of the same prayers, the same faces, the same routines. Those hills, though they cradle you, also cage you. The first act of faith is not a grand leap, but a quiet surrender, the deliberate, tender letting go of what feels safe. When you cling to the known, you deny the very purpose that set you apart. It is a subtle rebellion, a quiet disobedience to the divine whisper that says, you were not meant for this comfort. To let go, you must first see the comfort as a veil, soft, bright, but ultimately obscuring the path ahead. Begin by turning your attention to the small, unexamined habits that bind you. Are your conversations, your meals, your work a reflection of who God has called you to be? If not, make a small, deliberate act each day. Leave a seat, change a route, ask a different question. Each act is a stone laid on the road toward the unknown. You will feel the tug of familiarity like a tide pulling you back. Hold fast to silence. In the stillness, you hear the first quiet voice of the Almighty saying, "Step." And when that voice rings louder than the clamor of your comfort, you have already begun the journey of becoming. The first act of faith is the moment you release what you know, trusting that the next step, though unseen, is led by a hand that knows the way. Remember, the chosen are not comfort seekers, they are architects of a deeper horizon. Let go and let the journey begin. You stand at the edge of a plain that stretches beyond the horizon the eye can see behind you. The familiar hum of a life built on safety is fading. The scent of comfort is a memory, not a destination. In that quiet turning, the world asks you to ask yourself what lies beyond the borders of my comfort. The first truth is that the borders we set for ourselves are often drawn in the dark, not in the light. When God has chosen you, He does not merely hand you a key. He gives you a map that points toward a valley no one else has seen. That map is not a safety net. It is a compass that will guide you through the wilderness of doubt. Second, an unshackled life does not mean a life of reckless abandon. It means a life in which your thoughts, your energy, and your focus are surrendered to a higher purpose. When you learn to guard your inner life like a precious lamp, you can see the contours of a vision that no earthly boundary can contain. Third, the vision that awaits you is not a solitary one. It is a call to lift others from the same stagnant waters that once held you. When you reach beyond borders, you become a bridge, not a barricade. Practical step tonight: close your eyes, breathe, and ask the one who knows the shape of your heart. Let the silence become a quiet rebellion against the noise that claims to be comfortable. In that stillness, you will feel the pull toward a destiny that stretches farther than any comfort can hold. You are not a spectator in this journey. You are the one who must live out the promise of a life unshackled, a vision that knows no borders. And in that living, you will discover that true comfort is found not in staying put, but in moving toward the light He has set before you. In a quiet hour, when the world has settled into its usual hum, you feel the first prick of pain, perhaps a doubt, a loss, a silence that seems too vast. It is not a thief stealing your joy, but a sculptor shaping the stone of your purpose. The chosen life is not a path paved in ease. It is a road that rises, then drops, then climbs again. When you taste bitterness, remember that the furnace is only a test of the flame you carry. Pain is the divine whisper that says, "You are not finished, you are being finished." It is the hand that draws you from comfortable complacency toward the great work that lies beyond the veil of ease. Observe the pattern. Comfort breeds stagnation. Pain, when accepted, invites growth. Do not flee the ache. Ask yourself, what is God placing before me? What heart is He refining? Each sting is a lesson in humility. Each setback a reminder that strength is forged in adversity. Practical steps: 1. Pause in the midst of discomfort. Listen not to the voice of fear, but to the quiet insistence of the heart that has been called. 2. Reframe the pain as a signpost, not a prison. Write it down, talk it out, then let it guide your next action. 3. Cultivate a habit of surrender. Release the expectation of comfort, and hold fast to the promise that purpose will rise from the very ground of your trials. When you witness pain as a promise, you no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstance, but as a vessel in which purpose is unfolding. In the furnace of trials, the chosen one is forged, not by the warmth of comfort, but by the fire that shapes him into a vessel fit for the divine task ahead. You are not a finished picture hung in a gallery, but a work in progress, a canvas on which God's brush still moves. In the quiet of your heart, the strokes are almost invisible, yet they gather weight. With every breath you take, imagine a sculptor who, after years of chiseling, steps back and sees a form that is not yet the statue it will become. That is the truth of you. Comfort would be the early pause, the moment the chisel stops and the marble lies still. But the master's hand never rests. The dust of the workshop is kept from settling, for a masterpiece demands the relentless touch of time and purpose. Do not mistake this unfinished state for failure. Each rough edge is a learning, a reminder that the divine art requires discipline that echoes the discipline of prayer, the discipline of service, the discipline of self-concession. When the world offers you the softness of complacency, hear the quiet voice that says, "You are more than your present shape. You are a vessel awaiting the final polish." Practical steps 1. Embrace solitude as the kiln where your spirit hardens. 2. Set aside moments to trace the outline of your calling, even when it feels vague. 3. Lean on those who hold you gently in the mirror, pointing out the areas that need further refinement. Know that each pause, each trembling hand, is a deliberate act of faith. The unfinished masterpiece of a chosen soul is not a flaw but a promise, an invitation to keep working until the light of purpose fully illuminates the form. In that pursuit, the only comfort you will find is the knowledge that you are being shaped for something far greater than any momentary ease. There is a quiet ache that rises when you pause at the edge of your day and see the flame that has been lit within you flicker against the wind. You feel it for the first time, not as a blaze of self-glorification, but as a tender fire that must be fed, not abandoned. In the comfort of routine, that fire will grow cold. You are not a guardian of a hearth for others, you are its keeper. The flame that calls you is no more a promise than a promise unkept. It demands a deliberate hand. Each morning, before the world's noise swallows you, turn to the stillness that cradles your purpose. Speak to it, breathe in its name, and set a small, intentional act that will nudge it forward. Write a line, offer a listening ear, or simply pause to listen for the subtle voice that says, "Keep going." Guard your energy like a precious coin. In conversation, ask before you speak. In decision, ask before you act. Let the silence between your thoughts be a sanctuary where the flame can rest and regain its heat. When the world offers you the soft lull of comfort, step out of the circle and into the light. For comfort is a blanket that drowses the spirit into complacency. Remember, the flame is not a trophy, but a compass. Each small act of devotion, each moment of disciplined surrender, is a spark that keeps that compass pointing toward the heart of the one who called you. Let your purpose burn, not as a frantic blaze, but as a steady, unwavering light that guides you through the trials that comfort cannot endure. You can feel comfort as a quiet, warm blanket that settles over the most demanding part of your heart, and yet it is only a guest in a house that has been built for purpose. Imagine a man who has lived in a bustling city, surrounded by the constant hum of convenience. One day he hears a distant call, a whisper that cannot be ignored. He steps into a quiet garden, and for a moment the world seems to pause. The warmth of that pause is comfort. But look closely, the garden is not a home for the weary. It is a pause in a pilgrimage. Comfort in this way is a fleeting visitor. It comes in the shape of a calm mind after a long battle, of a smile after a hard day, of the quiet acceptance that everything is fine. Yet the house of mission was built from stone of trials, not from the soft pillows of ease. The very walls of your calling are reinforced by the tremors of doubt and the rustle of distraction. When comfort settles, it can smother the very fire that was lit for you. You must therefore learn to welcome the guest, but not let it stay. Practice the discipline of turning the lamp of focus on, even when the room is dim. When the wind of contentment blows through your mind, pause and ask, is this the wind that will carry me to my destination, or merely a breeze that will cool the flame? Let the temporary comfort be a reminder of your progress, not a substitute for the journey. In each quiet moment, plant a seed of resilience that every breath taken in stillness is a step forward, not a rest. When your heart feels too settled, Let it become the drumbeat that pushes you toward the next horizon. Only then will the house of mission feel complete, and the comfort you tasted will be remembered as a brief blessing, not a permanent home. Chosen one, if you hear this, write 888 in the comments. Let this be your response to the other chosen ones. And write what you received today in the spirit of gratitude for this day. When the world whispers that you are the chosen one, it isn't a gentle invitation to settle in a familiar chair. It is a summons to step into the unknown. Comfort, with all its quiet, familiar rhythms, is a lull that keeps the spirit from rising. The promise of ease is a mirage, an anchor that holds you in place rather than propels you toward the horizon where purpose waits. The chosen path demands that we trade the safety of the known for the possibility of the unseen, for the conviction that the greatest rewards come when we are willing to feel the sting of uncertainty. This discomfort is not a punishment but a catalyst. It sharpens our resolve, forces us to confront the limits of our own complacency, and reveals the depth of our potential. In embracing this turbulence, we discover the hidden reservoirs of courage that lie dormant in the quietest corners of our hearts. The chosen one does not seek comfort. The chosen one seeks impact. And in that pursuit, every challenge becomes a step toward a higher self, an evolution that can only be born from the willingness to let go of the soothing, the familiar, and the safe. So remember, the call to be chosen is not a path for everyone. It is a path for those who hear that quiet, relentless voice inside and decide to answer. If you feel that pull, carry it forward. Comfort will always be there, a temporary rest. But the true journey, where your impact is felt, begins only when you step beyond it. Stay, and let the discomfort be the compass that guides you to the greatness that awaits. Thanks for watching. If this message resonated with you, you can support the channel by giving it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and ring the bell. Join the movement. See you soon.